work out these systems, phone and laptop, to get it right on the right time, on the right day. Oh, Lord. And it just reminds me of the kind of pressure that we would have undergone and we still are undergoing in terms of the COVID 19 experiences. Yes, the shutdown's gone and we are kind of out of just come back from outside and uh, went to the grocery and in the countries I live, and there were several people, long queues, and you wondered where did they come from, what's going on, and it's all about, of course, the 19 of COVID. And you see people are a little more relaxed, but yet I've observed the consciousness to the protocols, the social distancing, the mask, the sanitizing. People are still on the ball with that. That is still very evident. People are still very cautious. No, they are free to walk around and say hi, but some people are just very silent within these environments because there is still the thought of spreading. But generally, I think we are working our way very nicely. I know other countries around the world are opening up. Some of them have opened up and have had some very negative repercussions in terms of their numbers rising again. And so it is important for us to really keep the protocols and make sure that we are in the way of continuing our growth. I belong to the islands, sorry, of Trinidad and Tobago, and those two islands were number one in the world for COVID 19 management. So, we have something to talk about in terms of managing. But I know that it's very much just the medical context because we cannot talk about managing in terms of the psychological and social context. That was definitely an array because there were several people who broke protocols, were in prison, charged. Some people really had very disturbing psychological uh, and disruptive psychological issues. Some people have had violence. There is a plethora of issues that has arisen, that have arisen in this last 11 weeks. And so it is so interesting of what we are doing, and I'm trusting that what I'm involved in for the last 16 weeks, 16 sessions, 8 weeks, is that it has been profitable in some way. I know that you will be kind, if possible, to let me know how it has helped. I would love to have you share, but you can put up a post somewhere in Twitter or even responding in the YouTube, but there's somewhere, and you could even put a little note here, right here, on the broadcast. So let's continue with the COVID 19 psychosocial impact and implications. Well, we have basically talked about impact. We haven't really talked much about implications. So I think it's time we maybe get into the implications a little bit and see some of the issues at hand. One of the implications that stares us in the face is the financial and economical stress that came to us in terms of finding the change or making the change. So physically, as I said, and health-wise, in terms of medically, we have done well. But in order to do that, it would have really implicated another level of finances. Just to purchase the mask and to purchase the sanitizers and to purchase the extra amount of soap and towels maybe and paper towels, that has increased financials, let's say your budget. So that we on one hand are saying yes, we are managing, but on the other hand, the implications are that there is a stretch for finances. We have had to therefore look at the impact of the finances on our light bills, essential bills, let's put it this way, because there's more use of electricity and there's more use of soap and water. And so those things have impacted us. We also realize that there's more use in terms of us using our Wi-Fi, and we're using our Wi-Fi for somebody else's gain because the officers are asking you to use your Wi-Fi, and there's no in terms of recompense. It's all about you doing your job, and so that we have those implications. Of course, in that context of finances, we realize that several people, or at one time, all people had cut back their jobs, excluding, of course, essential services. And there's a cutback in most enterprises and organizations where people are now having some people 50% less, 20% less, 10% less. Some people no percent at all. They don't get any. They've got a whole 100% less. And so there is the implications of orientation, the implications of that displacement in terms of how we are going forward and what we are looking at. We are still faced with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, recognizing that at the base, we have to find a way to really have those basic commodities of clothes, food, water, and shelter. And so, in that context, what is the reality for us? In some governments, they have given some gratis, or what they would call honorarium, in terms of mortgages, and in some cases, rents. But not every landowner or homeowner or renter or real estate person would have given you that gratis. Some people are still demanding the entire rent, or some people would still want to pay the entire mortgage, even if you, or rather I should say, when you declare yourself and say, look, I'm working so in this particular enterprise, they have stopped me or they have cut me by half, or therefore I'm struggling to pay. Could there be some kind of remiss there? Could you help me? Maybe say, don't pay for 2 months, don't pay at all. Some kind of remittance is important here, so that it's important for us to see how we are working out those remittances in the context of the COVID-19. We have to realize that it is not something that we face daily and we have not faced for a while, but it is something we have to agree that there is something called change. And so therefore, in terms of the implications, we have to see that now we are yet saying, I will follow the protocol, but. So there is a context that retards my involvement or retards my very engaging with public or with any other concepts, because I have to be careful how I spend and how much I am spending in terms of to fulfill another mandate. So it's 6 on one side, the half a dozen may not always be a half a dozen, because I have to get this thing right, yes, because I want us to be safe. And we hear it every day. We have the signages, we have the placards, we have the posters, but yet I am not seeing that leverage in terms of my finances. So that I am still now psychologically pressured. I am wondering if I am going to survive. How will I survive? When will I survive? And those are important factors that is circulating. That they are circulating very keenly, and people are addressing them daily with new enthusiasm. Yesterday I made a thought of something, but today I have thought about it, so I react to that. So there is going to be also that kind of emotional imbalance in terms of how do I work out these anxieties within myself? No. So therefore I can bring that to the public, whether through the media, whether through a political avenue, whether it's just an individual protest. But there certainly are going to be protests. And I want you to see how the wave is going. It starts off with me. It starts off with implications of my own pocket. And I'm only using finances today. We can use other implications, but just for today, finances. And it is broadening to the public because now I am being told by agencies that I can't because, but I still need. So that I must understand that it is important for me to reconcile what is happening between me, my wallet, my purse, and my environment. How do I bring ease to myself? How do I elaborate in my own life, rather? And I'm using these terms because they're very interesting terms. I want to expand, I want to elaborate. I want to go back to the place where I was. Therefore, I am downsized a little bit now, so I want to bring up, and I want to show myself calmly that I'm not squinting, I am not lacking. That's content is a Caribbean term. I am not lacking anything. I am not poor. So I want to elaborate in terms of my own consciousness. I could find means, but those means may not be ideal. And therefore, the other implication here is how do I work in a reciprocal context? How do I receive as I would like to give? Or how do I give when I know I should be receiving? So therefore, we are really poised in a very interesting position, and we face realities that we just do not know how to work out, how to bring some gratifications for. So let me backtrack a little bit here and talk about that money again. I didn't realize that my budget was going to be affected in saying no. Some people say, okay, let's see there's a balance. So I don't have to pay transportation to go to work. I don't have to pay gasoline in my car. I don't have to wash my clothes as often, the clothes that I wear, so that wear and tear for my working clothes, the clothes I go out with, even going out anyway. But because there's so many more of you at home at the same time, it's impacting the need for groceries. It's impacting the need for electricity because we now all at the same time, in the same space, on the same platform, using the Wi-Fi. That's increased. So on one hand, I must see ways in which I would alleviate, or whether I will be able to survive or to maintain a particular status quo here. But on the other hand, I am impacted by the need for more money, because this is not money that is fixed in terms of bills. This is current, so that I could have seen you and appreciate you going to the grocery store every week, because the consuming was more at one point. Because see, you're not going to be buying lunch, or you will not be saying, I'll carry a sandwich. You're home. So you eat the sandwich in the next hour, you have a pretty food the next hour, you have, and so on every hour, you can find yourself chewing or chomping. It's also interesting to establish the fact that we are here recognizing, yes, I am spending more, even though I felt at one time I was spending less. But when I look at the more, can I put that into a space, or rather, could I bring an analogy, the fact that this is substance? I'm really getting the root of my money. How do I work that when I have to buy more rice, more flour to attend to my household, because as I said, we need more? How do I pay more for electricity bills and for internet? That that doesn't seem to be able to work because there's so much of us, rather so many of us on this Wi-Fi. So therefore, again, I am therefore pressuring myself in thought and with an anxiety to survive. So one of the things we have to look at today, again, is that as an implication, my financial stability and the referencing it is that comes to me in terms of COVID-19. How do I, secondly, look at the fact that there are still needs that are outside of me. There are people who I support, whether it's my parents, whether it's my extended family, whether it's the credit union, whether it's savings, how do I now work on my savings, the credit union, the other places where I would want to invest. Let's use the word investments. My other investments, how do I? Is that on a whole? So therefore, I have a plan for the next 2 years, but now with this whole, I can't give to the insurances and to the fixed deposits and to these mutual funds as I should have. So therefore, my plan that is 3 years down the road will have to be changed. So again, these are really interesting implications. What we're looking here is the whole social context. It is that kind of not social exchange, but about social cognitive context. How do I think? What is in my brain in terms of how I work out this dependency, and I work out the enterprise of personnel resources that are sometimes not just limited, but ignorant. And I use the word ignorant there very academically. We do not know. Some people do not know how to bridge, how to reorganize, how to eat less, how to spend less, how to abbreviate, how to change. These are all factors of human responses within a space. So that it's important for me to appreciate this context. Again, I have these changes. These are implications for my future. Therefore, I have to work that out naturally. Naturally? What's that? No, I need to talk about it. It's not going to just work out because in my mind, the arguments are there. Is it possible? Is it not possible? How do I make it relevant? How do I make it practical? I don't know. Do you know? It's not a matter of knowing. It's a matter of working it out. So when new comes to me, I should be able to appreciate that it is new, and therefore I can get involved in working out a perspective. Is that something that I know that can be accomplished? Is this something I know that I can appreciate and be at peace with? I didn't ask for this, the question could be. I didn't plan this. This is out of my reach. This is really out of who I am. My children are demanding more. My spouse demands more. The expectation of food on the table maybe 3 times the expectation of whatever I want, I will get. The expectation of no lack, the expectations. And they create in itself a context of conflict. So there's another limitation. In terms of the finances, there is also going to be conflict. So therefore, it's important for me to learn how to find that content. I am not looking at the content that I have in terms of things, but I myself must be contented. So I need to learn how to forbear and work through these differences that are important to bring a balance to my life, a balance to my psyche. So today, limitations are important. One of the things is that the things I need around my house, I have tried, I'm not talking here about groceries, I'm talking here about things for the yard. How do I was planting, I need some topsoil, I need some soil, I need gardening tools. I can't just go down to the hardware as I did before. No, there are implications there. The distance wasn't viable. Now, after the 11th week, it's more viable. But before, pressure of the times, twice, 3 times a week, this particular hour, that particular hour. So I had to find the flexibility that I needed. How? Where would I get that flexibility from? Where would I work out what I think how I need? Let me just suggest. The issue that I never did this before, and that what is this is let's say gardening. But now all of a sudden I need, because why? If I have less money, I need to make sure that I can find a way to buy. So I can't buy because I don't have the money. Therefore I plant. So there's a circumventing here of not having finance to my hand, but I have food on my table. So when I can't get the means to bring the food on the table, that in itself is a negative. So I really feel like if I am wasted, or I am wasting my time, or there's an incompetency that I'm facing. So I want us today to see how we can work out the implications and realize that these are not just implications, but they created its own self a limitation. I can do so much and no more, or I cannot do at all because of my own lack of my experiences. So I want to encourage you today as we continue on. Please, let's be forthright in terms of how we address and how we create conversations in this area. I would like you all to be honest about how you feel about where the implications, how they have been pressing, and how they have clutched you or put you in a little box that you're now trying to come out of. So therefore it's important for you to testify, share, build a rapport, but do address the issues. So until we see on Tuesday, and we will talk more about the implications, I want you to have a good weekend and continue to remember that we are all in a safe place. Yes, we are. What we have to do is to maintain it. Maintain it. Maintain your safety. Maintain your safe space.